Welcome to this Cadline Dynamic Maps video. We'll be looking at the drawing tools within the Address and Street Management application. Having opened up the application and from the left hand side chosen LLPG addresses, the right hand side shows us a list of all the addresses in your current LLPG with a record count at the top. In the previous video we looked at creating a new BLPU record, and we created this record here, 999 Church Rise. So let's choose the Edit BLPU button to go in and now have a look at moving the geometry for this new address record. Over on the right hand side we've got a map which gives us the location of the BLPU record we created. Notice it's at the start of our USRN of Church Rise. That's where it default creates it. Top right hand corner we're going to click on the three dots and choose the Edit Pencil. That then refreshes the map so that we're now a role that can start editing. So we'll choose Edit Tools. And then underneath that choose Drawing Tools, which opens up the drawing tools for this layer. First thing we're going to do is move this point, this address point, to a new location. So let's just zoom out of the map slightly, and we're going to use the four-headed arrow, which is the Move tool, to left click on top of that property. Notice the icon turns into a little hand, and drag it and drop it into the middle of the property where it needs to be. So in this case this is 999 Church Rise. Scroll down the drawing tools and choose the Save button in the drawing tools, and it will say the changes have successfully been made. That now updates the BLPU record and the geometry is now in the correct location. The X and Y coordinate on the left hand side for the BLPU record itself won't change until we save and close this record or we refresh the screen. What we're going to do before we do that, let's now have a look at drawing some geometry for the BLPU extents. So this time, let's zoom the map in slightly so we've got the extents of this property. And we're going to use the snapping tool to snap to the outline of Ordnance Survey's fence lines of the property there. So let's tick Enable Snapping. Let's choose the snapping layer, which is the Ordnance Survey master map, which is a colour mapping below. And then let's choose the Polygon tool. So left click and it puts a red box around this tool. And notice how you get a little blue dot. So we can left click on vertices that already exist and we can snap to these features to accurately draw the BLPU extents. Just left clicking as we go. We could hold the mouse button down and drag the map. We could pull the scroll wheel back and zoom out and zoom in to be more accurate. But if we just left click, left click, left click, and if we double click, that'll draw a point there and snap to the initial point, or we could just snap right to the point there and left click once. It creates the new feature. We can just see it underneath there in slightly a green colour. And if I press the Save button again in the Map That Drawing tools there, it'll save the changes to our record. So our BLPU now has a point feature, which is the geometry of the centroid of the BLPU. And we've also got the extent boundary there drawn around the property boundary. Another thing you might want to do in any record that you've currently got geometry for, or in this case here we've got a BLPU polygon boundaries, reset that geometry and draw it again. So I'm just going to choose the Reset Geom option on the left hand side. This will, as it says, be aware this will remove any polygon geometry from this record. So we'll keep the point itself, but it will remove the polygon geometry around there. So let's press OK. And if we just move the map for Map That, notice we just refresh the map by just panning it slightly, and it will just refresh itself as well. The point of the map stays there, but the polygon boundary has disappeared. So let's redraw that geometry by going into the Edit mode again, and on the left hand side choosing the Edit Pencil and going back to the Drawing tool. So we could redraw that geometry if we wanted to, either freehand by just drawing polygon or snapping. But in this case, what we're actually going to do is I'm going to have the polygon extent being the actual building itself. So I'm going to use the Capture tool, which is this little camera icon. So if I press on the camera, you need to do now is just scroll to the bottom and give you a list of 3 steps. The first one is to select the layer to capture against, and there could be multiple layers. In this case there are, but I'm just going to type the letter S because I know the layer I need to snap to is called SADAS Master Map. Secondly, it says now click a feature to capture. So the feature I'm going to capture is something that's already drawn into Master Map. So this little kind of pink salmon feature here, and it'll put a little red line around that extent to tell you that's what you're going to capture. And step 3 says choose a camera icon to capture the feature. So we press the camera icon. It captures that feature, but what we need to do to actually see it in the map again, is just press the save button there in the drawing tools. We press save and it will give us a message saying it successfully created that geometry. So what we have now, if we look at our BLPU record, we've got a point for the actual centroid of the BLPU, which we moved a little bit earlier by dragging and moving it. And we've also created geometry for the BLPU extent itself, either by snapping around Ordnance Survey mapping or freehand if you wanted to, or using the capture tool to actually capture a feature that already exists. What you want to do now is just press save and close on your BLPU record, and you successfully use the drawing tools for updating your BLPU data. Thanks for watching this video.